Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Miss Brianne, and welcome to a brand new brief mini-series, which I like to call Summer Reading Fairy Tale Fridays. Now, as you know, earlier this week, we began our annual Summer Reading Club, where you get to read books and you earn tokens to trade for all sorts of cool prizes and maybe even raffle tickets to win some of the bigger prizes. So let's all celebrate that. Now, as many of you know, we have a different theme every year for our summer reading program. And this year's theme for 2021 is called Tales and Tales. Now, Tales and Tales has two entirely different meanings. The word tales, which is T-A-I-L-S, refers to animals or insects that have a tail. And you can read stories about those types of animals if you wanted to. Or we'll focus on those types of stories. Then we have the tales, which is T-A-L-E-S, and we're talking about things like fairy tales and folk tales and all those cool stories. Now, once a week for the duration of our summer reading program, which is from now until the end of August, I will be reading fairy tales. Does that sound like fun? And I'm going to read a different fairy tale every Friday until the end of the program, just for fun. And some of them may involve animals with a tail. So we get the double meaning right there. But before I begin, I'm going to show you this book series that I'm going to be reading these fairy tales from. Now, there is no known author for fairy tales. It's been passed down from generation to generation, decade after decade, century after century. We don't know who originally wrote these. But even if we don't know the original author, different people will adapt them every time into their own stories. Now, the book that I'm going to read our fairy tales from for the series is part of this series right here. This is a very old series. Not sure what year it was made, but this is a very old book. And the series is called The Great Fairy Tales Treasure Chest. Now, I picked this. This was given to me as a gift about a year ago. But as you can see, the illustrations and the layout is pretty much gorgeous. So I just wanted to show you a different adaptation of fairy tales you may know, and maybe even some you not know. And all of our fairy tales will be pulled from this series. But the series is called The Great Fairy Tales Treasure Chest. Now, this comes in a series of 5 books. The book we are going to be reading from is book 1. And just so you know, since there is no original author, but the adaptations of the fairy tales in book 1 were by Angela Rahaniotis. I hope I got that right. The illustrators were Tony Wolfe and Pierro Cattaneo. The lettering or the text was by Peter Holeinone. I hope I'm getting these right. And the layout was from Zapp. And the publisher is Tormont Publications Incorporated. Now, like I said before, this is book 1. And book 1 has 5 different fairy tales. They are The Mouse and the Lion, The Conference of the Mice, The Musicians of Bremen, The Ox and the Frog, The Ant and the Cricket, and The Vain Cow. The tale we are going to be reading today is called The Musicians of Bremen. Some of you may have heard it, and some of you may not have. If you have heard about this, please feel free to enjoy this version. If not, you're in for a great treat. So, are we ready? Here we go, the Musicians of Bremen. See if I can move this a little bit more so you can see. There we go. Once upon a time, an old donkey was ill-treated by his master. He decided to run away. And when he heard that Bremen was looking for singers with the town band, he thought that someone with a fine braying voice like his might be accepted. As he went along the road, the donkey met a skinny dog. "Come with me. If you have a good bark, you'll find a job with the band too. Just wait and see." A little later, an old cat, no longer able to catch mice, joined them, and the three of them set off towards town. As they passed a farmyard, they met a rooster who was crowing to the skies. "You sing well," they told him. "What are you so happy about?" "Happy?" muttered the rooster with tears in his eyes. "They want to put me in the pot and make soup of me. I'm singing as hard as I can today, for tomorrow I'll be gone." But the donkey told him, "Run away with us. With a voice like yours, you'll be famous in Bremen." Now there were four of them. The way was long. Night fell, and very frightened, they found themselves in a thick forest. Suddenly, in the distance, they saw a light. It came from a little cottage, and they crept up to the window. The donkey placed his front hoofs on the window ledge. The dog jumped on the donkey's back. The cat climbed onto the dog, and the rooster flew on top of the cat to watch what was going on inside. Now, the cottage was a hideaway of a gang of bandits who were celebrating their latest robbery. The hungry donkey and his friends became excited when they saw the food on the table. Yummy, right, boys and girls? Let's see what happens next. The donkey stuck his head through the window and toppled his three friends onto the lamp. The light went out and the room rang with the braying of the donkey, who had cut his nose on the glass, the barking of the dog, the snarling of the cat, and the screeching of the rooster. Taken by surprise, the bandits fled, screaming, "The devil! The devil!" The four friends gobbled up the food. Later, just as they were dropping off to sleep, one of the bandits crept back to the house to find out what had taken place. He opened the door, and with his gun in his hand, he stepped toward the fire. Mistaking the glow of the cat's eyes for burning coals, he thrust the candle between them, and instantly the cat sank its claws into the bandit's face. The man fell backwards onto the dog, dropping his gun, which went off, and the animal's sharp teeth sank into his leg. The donkey gave a big kick, sending the man flying through the doorway. "Run!" screamed the bandit. "Run! A horrible witch in there scratched my face. A devil bit me on the leg, and a monster beat me with a stick. But the other bandits were no longer listening, for they had taken to their heels and fled. And so the donkey, the dog, the cat, and the rooster took over the house. With the money left behind by the bandits, they always had food on the table and lived happily for many years. And that is the end of the story. But I hope you enjoyed that fairy tale. I certainly enjoyed reading to you and sharing all the illustrations. But next week we will read another fairy tale. But until then, this is Miss Brianne saying take good care of yourselves, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.